A girl walks into a store and tells her mother that she really likes one of the clothes, but a saleswoman tells her not to touch the clothes. Her mother then asks what was going on, because there was a clothing store there. The saleswoman then says yes, but that she wouldn't sell to them. Her mother then asks why she is being treated that way, but the saleswoman tells her not to touch the dresses. The woman then said that she couldn't understand what was going on, and then the saleswoman says that she would give them advice. She tells them to go to another store so they can pay for the clothes. The girl then says that she couldn't understand why she was being treated that way. The girl then asks her mother what was going on, and her mother says that she shouldn't worry about that. The saleswoman then says that she would explain, says that the girl was not classy enough to enter that store. At that moment, a man arrives and asks what was going on. The saleswoman then turns out that she was just telling them the truth, and then the man asks what she thought was the truth. She then says that they should have known that she didn't have enough money to be in that store. The man then says that, from that moment on, he would serve those women, and then the saleswoman says that he would waste his time doing it. The woman then asks what was wrong with their clothes, and the saleswoman says they shouldn't have a mirror in the house, for she could not say what was wrong with herself. The man then asks the employee to accompany him. They then go to another room, and the employee says she was just serving a customer. The man then says that they were paid to serve customers and not judge. The employee says she was just telling the truth, and the man says she was supposed to stop that. The employee asked if the man knew how much that dress cost, but he said that it was not important and that she just needed to attend to the customers. Later, the man was telling them that he would check if he had another dress for them. At that moment, the employee arrives and says that, as her colleague had told her to serve them well, she would give them some advice. She then tells them that they should go to another store so they can find cheaper clothes and not have to be hungry afterwards. At that moment, a customer arrives at the store, and then she takes advantage of the fact that the employee was not looking and starts to steal some pieces. Meanwhile, the woman was saying work here, she just wanted to buy her daughter a dress, and the employee was acting crazy. The employee then says that she wanted the woman to treat her with more respect. The girl then says that the employee was a very bad person. The woman then says to work that the man would assist her and that she could not understand what the employee was doing there. The employee then asks if they wanted to be alone with the clothes. She says the woman was really a characterless person. The woman then tells the employee that she couldn't talk to her that way. The employee. She then goes up to the customer and greets her. The customer then says that she was there to buy some clothes for her husband, but that she really liked the black dress. The employee says that it was one of the best-selling dresses in that store, and then the customer says that she was going to buy it. The employee then asks what size dress she wanted. The customer wanted, and the customer tells her. She then says that the customer could wait there and she would bring the dress to her soon. When the employee goes to the dress, she ends up realizing that the man wanted that dress too. He then asks what she was doing, and she says she was going to take the dress to the customer, but the man says that dress was already reserved for the woman. The employee then says he should stop wasting his time with those people. She then says that the customer she was serving had a lot of money. The man then tells her to cut it out, as the woman and her daughter were great people, but she said she didn't care as she just wanted her commission. She then walks away and leaves the man talking to himself. The employee takes the dress to the customer and then she says that that was the last piece. The customer then thanks the employee and says that she was happy as she didn't want other people to wear the same dress as her. The girl then says that that was the dress she liked best. The employee then says that that would really be an affront, as no one would like to see someone else in the same dress. The customer says that she really was a classy person, that she deserved to buy that dress. The employee then tells her to follow along and they go elsewhere. The man then apologizes to the woman and says that her last dress he had. She then says it was okay as she knew it wasn't the man's fault. The man then says that the bright side of that situation was that they had just received a new collection and he could show it to them. He then asks them to wait a bit, as he would soon be bringing the collection for them to see. They get excited about it. The employee then asks the customer how she would like to pay for the dress, and she says that she was going to pay with her credit card, but that she wanted to look around the store one more time before paying. The employee said she wouldn't have a problem, and then the customer says she'll be right back. Meanwhile, the girl was trying on a dress and her mother said that she looked very beautiful and looked like a princess. At that moment, the employee arrives and asks, since when would the customers be able to try on the dresses from the new collection? The man then tells her not to meddle in that, as he had authorized it. The woman then says it would work here, she didn't want any kind of trouble and that she just wanted a dress for her daughter. The employee said that she was not talking to the woman and tells the man to accompany her, but he says he wouldn't go anywhere as he was serving his customers. She then proceeds to tell the man that he should listen to the warnings she was telling him. He then asks why he had to do that, and she says that she was his favorite salesperson. He then says that she should be serving her client. She then says that her customer was picking out some pieces as she wanted to buy more stuff. She then says that her commission would be much better than the man's, but he says that the employee shouldn't leave customers alone in the store, as she didn't know the kind of people they were. The employee then says that she didn't see a problem with that, as her client was very rich. The man then says that he unfortunately would have to report that behavior she was having to his superiors. The employee, then he says that the man wouldn't have the courage to do that and he said he would and soon he would. She then asks him not to do it and says that it would be all his if he didn't. He then says that the type of woman the employee did not interest him. The employee is very surprised by that and then the man says he didn't want to have that conversation anymore. He leaves working, then says that situation would not stay that way. Later, the customer was handing over her credit card to the clerk. When the employee tries to pass the card, she ends up realizing that she was refused and then asks the customer if she didn't have another card. The customer then says that that was impossible, but that she would try with another card and then hands it over for work. The employee then tries again, but that card wasn't going through either. The customer then says that they must have had a problem with the machine as she knew they had money on their credit cards. The employee then says that the machine must be having a problem and then says that there was an ATM nearby that the customer could use to withdraw money. The customer then says that they should improve their system as she shouldn't have to go elsewhere just because their machine is out of order. At that moment, the woman arrives and the man asks her how she would like to make the payment. She says she would pay cash and the man says he will bring her a dress soon. Later, he returns with the dress and hands it to the woman. At that moment, the customer despairs and runs out of the store. The man then collects the customer's bag from the floor and then the employee asks what was going on there. The man then says that he already understood what was going on and says that the customer was a thief. This leaves the employee very surprised and she says she couldn't understand why. At that moment, the policeman arrives at the store and asks if they had seen any women with strange behavior that day. The man then says that she had just left the store and then the officer leaves. The man then apologizes to the woman and tells her that she could take the dress at a steep discount if she still wanted it. The woman then says that since the customer wasn't going to buy the other dress anymore, she wanted to buy that too. The man then says he was happy to hear that and says he would cut her a big discount. The woman then asks what the price of the dresses was, and then the man says that because of everything that had happened, she could only pay half of their value. The employee. The woman then thanks the man for his service and says that she was going to take the 2 dresses. She then said that she would pay it all at once, and then the employee says that she doubts that. The woman then takes her money, which was wrapped in a cloth, and hands it to the man. When the employee saw that, she started saying that the woman was so poor that she had to hide her money. She says she was sure that money was counterfeit. The man then says that everything was correct and asks if she would like him to wrap the dress, but the woman says that it is not necessary, as her daughter would already wear it. The man then says that he would bring her a dress soon. Later, the employee was telling the man that he could share the money he had earned with her, but the man says that he had called his superiors and that the employee was fired. The employee then says that it wasn't right as she hadn't done anything wrong. The man said that he would not waste any more of his time talking to her, as she was a very arrogant and judgmental person. The employee then leaves, saying that he would never find an employee like her again.